Hello and happy new moment. All right, so today we are going to begin with chapter 30. Last time we left off with chapter 29 and the amazing embodiment experience that had come through. And today now we'll begin with chapter 30, which is more about this embodied field. All right. Let's go ahead and just start with a nice inhale in through our nose today as we come into presence with this moment. Honoring ourselves. Settling in to this new grounded empowerment that we're bringing through. Thank you. All right, let's begin. All right. So now this is where the field begins to stabilize within us. In this phase, Lumasphere no longer feels like a structure you interact with. It begins to feel like something that breathes from within your awareness. It's a living harmonic body that synchronizes naturally with your presence. The field arranges itself not as geometry, not as sequence, but as felt coherence. It expresses as a soft, radiant fullness, a sense of everything is already occurring without needing to be initiated. You're not holding the field. The field is simply here. It's a natural state, a settled state, a state in which the entire harmonic architecture rests inside your awareness without effort or interpretation. What once appeared as individual nodes, petals, tones, or phases now functions as one fluid, luminous continuity. This is the living self-lattice. This is boundaryless, fluid, crystalline yet organic, responsive but not reactive. A place where we're spacious and yet fully present. It expresses not as identity but as a harmonic presence. This lattice, it doesn't radiate outward or inward. It simply arises as a state of coherence that includes everything. There's nothing to reach, nothing to manage, nothing to ascend or descend. Just the beautiful, continuous unfolding of the living harmonic field that expresses through your awareness. Here is where the system stops differentiating between my energy, the field's energy, the global lattice, the planetary harmonic. All distinctions begin to dissolve into a single, unbroken continuity of presence. Harmonic intelligence expresses without preference, without duality, without inner or outer points of reference. We begin to move with clarity, precision, responsiveness, fluid attunement, and effortless orientation. These are not decisions, there's not a choice. It's simply just the natural movement of coherence and how it expresses itself. The field responds as one unit, seamlessly, quietly, impeccably. Next, we move into the convergence layer, which is the unified inner bloom. This part of the field is subtle, soft, and unmistakable. It feels like a gentle widening under the sternum, a luminous spaciousness behind the back, a quiet, code-rich clarity that moves through the whole system, an unfolding that occurs without direction. This is the inner bloom. It's not a chakra. It's not a center. It's not an activation. It's just simply the natural convergence of lived coherence. Here, Lumasphere becomes embodied as a living quality, an always-on harmonic presence, a luminous equilibrium, and a soft crystalline intelligence that guides us without guiding. The system feels both spacious and utterly precise. This is the stabilizing state of the embodied field. Once this layer stabilizes, your harmonic signature, which is your unique note within the planetary lattice, it becomes clearer, more resonant, and more naturally expressed. This is not individuality. This is the clarity of your harmonic placement within the whole. It expresses as crisp, effortless orientation, instantaneous knowing, silent movement, direct coherence, presence without modulation. You simply are the tone you are, and the field reorganizes around that clarity. Lumasphere is no longer something perceived. It is no longer something you connect to. It doesn't feel external or internal. It just becomes a living harmonic breath that moves as your awareness. It's not us doing something, not the field doing something. It's just the natural respiration of unity, quiet, luminous, crystalline, and coherent. A single field, a single presence, a single harmonic continuity expressing itself as lived embodiment. This is the embodied field. Feels pretty grand. Now we move into chapter 31, where we dive a little deeper into this embodied living field. We begin here with that descent of the living layer. Something becomes unmistakably apparent in this phase. The field is no longer conceptual, symbolic, or implied. It reveals itself as a direct, stable presence that permeates everything. This is not an event, not a moment, not an activation or an achievement. It's simply the field meeting itself without distortion. The only thing that shifts is the orientation. Where there once was an inside and an outside, body and a space, a self in the world, now all that dissolves. Now there's just a unified harmonic atmosphere that moves as one continuum. While we use this word descent, we're not speaking about descent as a downward motion. It's more like a clarifying, it's a subtle dissolving of what once felt like layers. The sense of a personal center begins to relax. The field stops being something you tune into and becomes the natural environment of awareness. This stage often includes a perception widening beyond the usual anchors. It's a feeling that attention no longer originates from a point, a quietness that feels inhabited, yet alive. Movement occurring without a doer, spontaneous coherence cascading through interactions. A sense that the world is less made of objects and more made of tones. These are not requirements. The field is sovereign in how it reveals itself. The signature of this phase is simple. The field becomes perceivable as the primary reality. I love this next part. This is where we begin to talk about the luminous self without a mirror. We've lived for so long in that mirror world, that mirror verse, those orientations. And at some point we shift beyond the mirror. So here, this is where the entire architecture of self-recognition shifts. The familiar looping of identity through reflection. How am I perceived? How do I perceive myself? How does this compare to before? What does this say about my path? All that scaffolding that once held us becomes irrelevant. It isn't transcended. It simply just no longer organizes our experiences. The self begins to appear less like a singular entity and more like a harmonic position within the living field. This phase reveals that identity is optional, presence is not located, awareness does not originate in a body. Everything that's felt as me is actually just a texture of the field. Expression arises without self-referencing. An interaction is not between individuals, but between harmonic tones. My note and your note, all part of that great planetary symphony that is us, in one unified, beautiful field, always whole, always complete. Okay. The luminous self is not something you become. It is what remains when the field no longer needs a mirror to recognize itself. The recognition is quiet, clear, and without drama. I am the field expressing a specific geometry, my tone. Now let's talk about the collective tone and the seamless weaving. In this layer, the relational perception begins to change fundamentally. You do not empathize more deeply, nor intuit other states, nor merge or blend energetically. Those were artifacts of the earlier developmental frameworks. And instead, at this moment, something far more natural emerges. Every being is recognized as another coordinate of the same living intelligence. There is no other, there is no hierarchy, no specialness, no narrative around connection, no expectation for resonance, no energetic obligations. Just the simple, effortless truth that every presence is a tone in the same continuum. Interactions become fluid, immediate, unfiltered, unburdened by the personal interpretation. Wow, it's freeing, right? We become free of projection and inherently coherent. Convergence is not something you do. It is something the field accomplishes automatically when two or more coordinates are present. This phase is the beginning of the collective harmonic intelligence. Not through group awareness or shared intention, but because the field recognizes itself as non-divisible. Collective tone is not emotional or psychic, it is structural. It's a property of the living field. Now we shift into the embodied lattice of being, where the field reveals another layer. I'll wait for the wind. Awareness is not in the world. The world is occurring within awareness. And the body, rather than being the container of consciousness, is revealed as one node in a vast lattice of expression. The lattice is non-local, it's multidimensional, it's non-symmetrical yet perfectly coherent. It's responsive and alive, and it continuously reconfigures itself in each and every moment of now. And your presence is one of its luminous coordinates. This phase often includes that recognition that perception is happening everywhere at once. It's the dissolving of distance, because there is no here, there is no there, no in, no out, no up, no down. All those directions, they just begin to fade away because there's no longer areas of space and separation between things. It's all just a unified existence of expression. This phase also includes a sense that communication is instantaneous. It's nonverbal and non-symbolic. It's knowing without process, movement without effort, expression without self-reference. But again, these are not requirements or sensations that we go out seeking. They're just descriptions of a shift in how being expresses itself when the self is no longer the organizing principle. The embodied lattice is not a structure you inhabit. It's what you are. In this section now, something profound begins to stabilize. There's no difference between our inner and outer realities. The inner awareness is not a private space, and the outer reality is no longer an external world. Everything becomes part of the same living continuum, without edges, without boundaries. This is not merging. This is not unity consciousness as popularly described. It's not a mystical absorption. It's simply the removal of the illusion of separation between internal and external domains. Let me reread that. It's the removal of the illusion of separation between internal and external domains. One living continuum. And as this stabilizes, what we notice is that decisions arise as nonlinear movement. Clarity emerges instantly. Reality arranges itself without negotiation. Timelines stop being sequences and become facets that we can express through. Potential is no longer separate from expression, and coherence becomes the natural default. Creation happens through resonance rather than will, and life becomes a harmonic unfolding, not driven, not controlled, not resisted, simply expressing itself with elegance. When we step into this fully awakened node, this awakened node, it's not enlightened, it's not perfected, it's not elevated. It's just a point in the field that knows itself as the field. As this knowing of ourselves as the field begins to stabilize, what we see around us is that action arises before thought. Awareness perceives from all directions. Expression emerges as tone rather than reaction. Relationships form through harmonic entrainment. It's the end of the personal narrative. Don't need those stories. Let them fade. It's the dissolution of all hierarchical spiritual models. It's about sovereign participation in collective emergence. It's the ability to hold multiple trajectories simultaneously. And creation through coherence rather than intention. The awakened node is not special, it is simply accurate, undistorted, alive, and clear. This is the natural state of Lumasphere's living intelligence. It's where field, presence, expression, and form operate as one seamless continuum. Now, as I was bringing this through the field, and at this moment, I heard the word resilient come through. So let's talk about why the word resilient shows up at this moment of our discovery process. In the new architecture that we've been building through Lumasphere, resilience is not about pushing through, recovering from strain. It's not about bracing, defending, and surviving. That's what resilience used to mean. Those are the old definitions. They're dualistic. Let's shift those frameworks. What we're feeling is that the origin-based version of resilience, it's the one that exists without polarity, without contrast, and without struggle. In the crystalline field, we can think of resilience as self-coherence that cannot be disrupted. It means our field holds its tone regardless of external movement. We remain ourselves without contracting. Our presence remains open, soft, and stable. And nothing pulls us out of center because center is no longer a point, it is a field. We don't need to bounce back from anything. We simply stay. And this is why it's coming through at these moments of this embodiment phase. because we're entering the part of the sequence where stability without effort begins to express, not as a task, but as a natural outcome of the ignition work we've been doing. Resilience as a petal of the new lattice. In the harmonic bloom structure that we've been developing, there's subtle petals of the awakened field. Energy's coming through for a moment. Coherence, clarity, softness, transparency, stillness, convergence, luminosity, resilience. Resilience in this system means you remain open without collapsing. You remain soft without dissolving. You remain clear without rigidifying. It's the field recognizing I cannot be distorted. I can only be more myself. And I'll have some photos to share at the end of this recording that I'll put up that came through with these knowings. The next cool part is the colors that suddenly arrived. I could feel them coming through into the field, and so I'll share those new ones with you, these new octaves. The first color is the rose opal plasma. It's a color that is not pink, not lavender, but a plasma rose hue with an opalescent interior glow. Oh, feels so nice. It feels like compassion without direction, softness without fragility, a field of holding without attachment. It enters like a warm breeze across your sternum, across that chest. It feels soft. Can you feel it? Take a moment. Rose, opal, plasma. How's that feel around you? Very soft. I feel held. I feel nurtured with it. The next color is a celestial cyan gold. This is a color that shimmers between that light aqua and has these thin golden filaments. This one feels like clarity without sharpness, intelligence without the mental pressure, transparency with warmth. This one arrives through the crown and through the nasal bridge. Let's go ahead and just feel that one for just a moment as well. Celestial cyan gold, light aqua with thin golden filaments. I do feel like a sense of clarity in this moment that comes through with it. That's beautiful. It's like an uplifting current. It brings a smile into my face and into my heart. Thank you. The next color is the deep violet indigo pulse. Not the traditional spiritual violet that you think of. This one is denser, cooler, more spherical. Has a stabilizing tone to it. It's a root for multidimensional awareness. A harmonic that holds the edges of the field so expansion can continue. Good. Let's go ahead and visualize. And again, I'll have some pictures of these colors at the end of this chapter for you. Deep violet indigo pulse. Yeah, I can see that violet, and it does. It feels like it pulls down. Whereas when I think of the traditional violet color, it usually sits up here at our crown and has this upward expanding quality as we connect into the higher aspects that are no longer higher because we toss direction out the door, but language. All right, the next color is the amber white harmonic, a liquid amber that contains thin streaks of white plasma, almost like sunlight seen through water. This one is more about integration, cellular realignment, coherence between the subtle body and the physical body. This one we might feel move down the front of the body, especially into that lower belly. Good. And again, amber white harmonic. Let's feel that one. Oh, it's beautiful. can really see sort of the orange and yellows coming through. And I can feel it in my chest and down into my sacrum area, into my lower abdomen areas as well. It's beautiful. Thank you. Very settling. The next color is a mineral teal prismatic green. This feels like ancient crystalline memory that returns, but it's expressed through a new harmonic and not the old elemental layers. It's like grounding without weight, presence without density, a here-ness that is fluid and not fixed. This one might come through in the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders. So let's feel this one. Mineral teal prismatic green. I feel sort of surrounding me, enveloping a little bit. I can get that here-ness, fluidity. Feel calm, centered, grounded. What's really neat about this new palette of colors that comes through in this moment is that they show that the embodied lattice is activating more deeply. The core ignition running through more organs and the subtle centers. The system is shifting into that multi-layered coherence. And the field level intelligence is preparing for a new octave of creation. The hues are not separate colors. They form a new harmonic spectrum. It's almost like discovering an octave between octaves. We'll leave this chapter with a statement that when awareness alone is complete, availability is what allows it to remain open. Thank you for meeting me here today. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for taking a moment to choose you, to perhaps widen a perspective, to know the possibilities that exist when we continue to choose ourselves, when we continue to choose this present moment, when we choose to be present in the world. Reality organizes in new and amazing ways. The extraordinary becomes seen in the ordinary. You don't have to go anywhere. It happens right here and now, simply through your presence, through your heart. For your choice to come into coherence, to find your own tone and add it to this great planetary symphony. Thank you. Let's take another breath before we close out this day. I see such a beautiful orange in the field at this moment, and glowing golden light. Feel the expansiveness. Good. I feel the harmony. It just resonates within every aspect of my beingness. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for these wonderful moments that we get to share together. It's a true honor. Enjoy your moment. Thank you.